with the book Unashamed.
Yeah.
What is shame?
To answer your question briefly, shame is a complex, old emotion. And to answer it not so briefly, is that shame is now connected to every defense mechanism we can think of. And defense mechanisms are not bad. Defense mechanisms are natural, that all human beings have to cope through what is essentially a complex reality, a complex existence. And as psychotherapists, we're trained specifically to look at people's defenses. And so what I noticed happening, Kavita, in the world of social media, in the world of sex positivity, in the world of, like, let's say, South Asian studies and even spirituality, is that there's a lot of these patriarchal concepts. And again, I don't think patriarchy is bad. It's one way. Just like matriarchy is not bad. It's one way. It's another way. So one of the consequences of living in the patriarchal system is that everything that's feminized, including emotion, gets repressed as something that's not that important. So what's important is intellect. What's important is like coming off as really put together all the time. Coming off as, I have no problems in sex. I have the best husband. I have the best children. And this is the Indian narrative that I noticed also in the US when I was living there for a long time, that like this would be the defense mechanism of a lot of people, Indians, South Asians, Desis, who would even come to sex positive events to be like, I don't need this. I'm just looking at like how I can have better sex. And I would be like, well, what's stopping you from having better sex? And they would be like, I don't know. I think it's like my mother told me something. And then somebody would say, you know, some trauma happened, but I haven't processed it. So they would touch, but they would not be able to contain the depth of what is essentially the core of these problems, which is that it's so buried that it's become this kind of like complex emotion of shame.